Okay everybody, welcome back. This is the template video, take 2. The reason it's a take 2 is whenever I went back to edit the video, I noticed there were some things that I want to talk about that I forgot to mention in the video. And I figured it was just easier just to reshoot the video, so welcome back for round 2. As you can tell, I got the template behind me, and I've been working on it, and it's finished. And I've already moved on to cutting the side profiles and even on as far as building out the sides. But now that I have the template laid out on top of one of my sides, I'm going to go through and show you what I did to create this template. Now I got Tony's book over here laid out, and right in the back of the book it shows the measurements, and you can buy the book and get the measurements, or you can contact Tony if he wants to share those with you. I'm going to leave that up to him. But one of the things I wasn't aware of whenever I was making this template is that the bottom part of the template is a cutout, and that is so that it will fit on the back of the trailer. So there's the back of the trailer, and it will fit down where the hatch will hang off those 2 inches. But the sides will sit on top of the wood, and your 1/4 inch exterior will extend down over the edge of the wood there. So that's the reason that we have a cutout on the bottom. Now, to create this template, I used the same wood that I used to make the floor with, so it's interchangeable. But what we're looking at here is a full sheet of 4x8 sheet of wood, but here was the seam right here where I put the wood together for the template. Now how I put this together is a little different than Tony recommends, and I think I went over this in a previous video, but I took some fiberglass cloth. Well, the second piece right here on the wood that you see, I put dowels in here to secure the pieces of wood together. And then on both sides I came back with a sheet of fiberglass cloth laid down over it, and then I put resin over the top of that. And this is a good sturdy, I have confidence that this thing is not going to break. You're not going to suffer any damage on this joint. You'd more than likely suffer damage in other areas before you would on this joint, and I like this. But as with anything, it's up to you how you want to do your joint. The only reason I use fiberglass is because I already had it laying around from the previous build, so I just went with that. Now, when you're laying out the template, it's laid out on a 3-inch grid, and I'll just pull that down right there. See those vertical lines that run all the way up? Those are every 3 inches, and you only do that for the first few lines. You don't need to muck up the entire wood with a grid system, because you're only going to go up and then make a mark, go up, make a mark right as this curve starts. So following Tony's measurements that are in the book, this being the very front of the plywood, your first mark is going to come up about right in here somewhere, right as you're starting to make your first turn. And then every 3 inches is another mark. So you go all the way around, and then once I got to the top, I just went every 3 inches along the top. I didn't run the grid all the way down the board, just enough that I could mark. And then what I did is on that mark, I took a little nail, drilled a little pilot hole, stuck a little finishing nail in there, and then I took this piece of cedar that I had right here, and I bent. Let's see if I can do this with the camera in my hand. And then I laid it against the finishing nails to get my profile. And then once I got my profile where I wanted it, I came back and I drew a line. And I took the jigsaw and cut that out. Now, since we're doing cedar strip, and I'm giving you a peek view of what one of my interior walls look here. This is just an eastern red cedar, and this is going to be the inside cabin, which you see here underneath its template. But the roof is also going to be, the interior and exterior is going to be cedar strips. So rather than doing what Tony recommends and drawing a 2-inch line all the way around and cutting that off and using these spaces here as blocking between your spars, when you put your spars in between your walls, we ran back and did just going to route a little groove so that we can put our cedar strips in the groove and don't route all the way through our plywood. But I took a 3/4 inch bit and I marked my lines and then ran that 3/4 inch bit all the way, the full 2 inches all the way down to my mark there. And then that's where my 1x2 spars will go in here. And along the front, we're looking at about every 8 inches. And then we get up here in the flat spots, and it's about every 12 inches along the top. Now, when we got back here to the back and we were building out our template, this is going to be your spar hatch. This is going to be an oak spar so that it'll hold the screws. You'll see this in a later video. We're going to grab some 2-inch oak, and we're going to make a square 2x2 spar, and that's what our hatch galley lid will screw down onto. And I penciled in my bulkhead, where the bulkhead's going to go. Penciled in where the galley shelf is going to be, and then interior cabinets are going to run right here. So we just came back and cut that out, and then after we got our profile roughed in with the jigsaw, I grabbed this rasping tool, and then we were right along the profile of the template, and I just kind of worked the rough spots to where it was smooth, and I made sure that I had a perfectly smooth line all the way around so there's no wobbles in it, because however your template is going to be is how your walls are going to be. And I've watched some build videos where you can, from a distance standing back, you can tell there was a little wobble where they didn't pay attention to get that wobble out of that profile. So if you really want this to look good, take the extra time to get your template perfect, because the better looking your template pattern is going to be, the better your overall profile of your trailer is going to be. So whatever time it takes to work, I don't care if it's hours or days, make sure that you get a perfectly perfect curves where there's no wobble in that, so you can stand back and look and make sure that that's straight. Now, I've already went back and cut the voids out of my template, and these are not the same voids that are recommended in the book. I needed more wood to screw my slats to, so I've got more wood that I can glue to. And the reason you see them with radius in here is because under a stress load, radiuses are less likely to fracture than a sharp 90-degree corner. I've seen some people come in that when they're cutting their voids, they'll make 90-degree cuts. There's a higher probability of failure if you take a rough hit on your trailer and there's a jar. You may crack the interior frame. So one of the steps you can take to do that is just to cut corners on your cut radiuses on your voids. Now we're going to come back with insulation. See the blue insulation behind me where I've already cut for this wall. underneath these slats. This is already done. We'll do another video of building out these walls. But that's what's under there is insulation. The insulation only serves one purpose, and that's to keep you cold on the inside. Whenever it's hot out, you run the air conditioner, or it's keeping you warm whenever it's cold outside and you're running the heater on the inside of your cabin. So these are just voids for insulation building. This is where our door is going to be. And you see my other wall over there. I didn't cut the door out of that one. And the simple reason is we're just going to put a window in that one. My wife didn't want a door. Makes her feel a little more secure that if she doesn't have access for someone to come in on her at night. So we're only putting one door, not build. And that's on the passenger side of the tow vehicle is where the door is going to be. So that's the wall you're looking at here. Okay, I believe I went over everything that we did to build this template out. One other thing I wanted to go over. Before we cut our template out, Tony gives you the measurements on where to measure to mount your gas struts, a top mounting point and a bottom mounting point. But it tells you to come off the pattern and take a measurement out here. So if you'll take that measurement and mark these points before you cut your pattern out, that's one of the things I just found is a little bit easier. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching, and hope you keep following along.